Tottenham till I die, Spurs die hard. Tottenham till I die. Tottenham till I die. Tottenham till I die. Spurs die hard. Tottenham till I die. Tottenham till I die, Spurs die hard. Tottenham till I die.
Hello and welcome to the regular Tuesday edition of Spurs Diehards TTID Tottenham Till I Die. Tonight we'll discuss the summer transfer window and we'll discuss each of the individual players we've brought in, and we might look ahead to what's coming up. I mean, we have got the dreaded international break, so I should imagine things will be quite quiet on podcasters for a week and a half. But let's get straight into it. I'll introduce the guest and then go through the comments and we'll see how we go. So, Eugene from the good old US of A, how are you?
I'm good. Good to be on.
And James, how are you on the old South Coast? All right.
Yeah, can't complain. Nice to be on. Thanks for having me on again.
Yeah.
Happy chat Spurs.
Yeah. And I'm fine. So we'll just have a look at see if we've got anyone in the chat yet. I don't see anyone, but it doesn't matter. We've got 20 of you viewing us on various platforms, no doubt. People may have come on, but they've got work, haven't they? So let's get into the banners. Right. Summer transfer window review. Let's start with this good signing. Eugene, was you happy with this?
Oh, yeah, kudos. Definitely a top signing. Yeah, I mean, not much to say than that. Showed his class in the first couple of games. Obviously, the last game, not the best performance, but the whole team didn't do well. And he was, right now he's being doubled by every single team.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, overall, I think he's, for me, our best signing this window.
James?
I mean, I spoke to my mate who's a West Ham fan about him, and he said, what he said to me was, very talented player who doesn't always have the correct attitude. And I think what we've seen from him so far is a very, very talented player who's very motivated. And I feel like you don't go from, a mid-table club like West Ham to a big six club like Spurs and show the wrong attitude. And I think what we've seen from him is an incredibly talented winger who has a lot of potential. And ultimately, I think long-term, he's going to be a fantastic signing for us. And I'm a big fan of him. Like, he honestly has potential to be a top sort of like top 10 maybe winger in the Premier League for us. And I'm a big fan of him. So good signing, my Ducks.
He's hit the ground running, Eugene, hasn't he? But we seem to be magnetically attracted to him with the ball.
Yeah, I mean, he's our only outlet as of now, so far, at least in the first few games. So, yeah, I mean, I agree that the rap on him has been his mentality. When things don't go well, he's volatile. And my fear was if we don't give him any help, that might happen if he's doubled every single game. But the good thing is we do have some more weapons in the final third. So
Yeah.
I'm excited to watch him play.
Help has come, but it reminds me, I mentioned it before, I hate to bore people to death on other shows when I've said that when Aaron Lennon was at the club, he said they all used to double up on me. He said, but when Gareth Bale came, it was a ball game changer. Get loads of room. So this is what we're hoping this guy. I like him, yeah. I mean, he's hit the ground running, but he was Premier League approved before he come. Obviously, he wasn't happy at West Ham, knowing that he's not going to get anywhere near winning anything there. And he obviously wanted to go and agitated for a move. Obviously, otherwise West Ham would never have dealt with us. There had to be something going on behind the scenes there. Fantastic signing, like for whatever it was, 55 mil. He was worth at least 10, 15 mil more, in my opinion. But yeah, he's good. Let me just have a look at the comments. We have got 12 in. I want to say hello to some guys. Brian Knight, actually, real life friend of mine. How are you, Brian? Then we got Blaine, Super Spurs TV. And we got Robin. Good evening. Haven't seen you before. Robin from Canada, looks like. Welcome. Like I said, if any of you ever want to come on the show, you got to just contact us and give us your phone number. We put you in a WhatsApp group. Brian saying good evening all. Graham, Graham's here. Big up, Graham. Yeah, Roger Maltz is here. Good friend of the show. Big up, Roger. Graham again. Brian, I hope you're well. He's saying. We've got, is James rocking a Cradle of Filth shirt?
Yes, it's a Cradle of Filth. Wait, I will turn around.
Excuse me for not having a clue what that is.
It's so to the person who asked that, it's a first album, The Principle of Evil. So yeah, Cradle of Filth.
And good evening, friends. And then we've got Ian Meth, fellow car owner and spelling expert. He'll be laughing now at that on the channel. Spelling expert. He was being bantered like hell the other day for getting a couple of names wrong. And in the WhatsApp group. Evening, Ian. Hope you're well. Oh, yeah. Graham saying, "Oh, Ian, and fall asleep." I don't know what that is. Right. So, and again, Blaine, Eugene wind up with some rating. Umani gives it's both not Prem proven and French. Yeah, we haven't had a lot of luck with French players, NG and Kudu, Endon Belly. I've always said we should sign anything. Got the letter in at the beginning of the surname. Naybet, Norton. You know what I mean? I'm sure people can make others. Wait and see, mate, Eugene.
Yeah.
Eugene bantered me about it when I said to him, we're getting more on. He went, don't do this to me, Adrian. I want to see the shirt. So all those that did that to me, what I did was I deliberately send them the videos and the shirts and everything in like that, just to go, because I'm sure we're all pleased with the sign.
Oh, for reference, for the people in chat who like Cradle of Filth, I have a poster on my wall next to me, so I have a.
Oh wow.
I have a cool poster from their, I think, third album. Yeah, great band.
Wow.
Anyway,
that's cool. Very, very gothic. Very. Cool.
Yep.
Eugene, this guy, your take on him so far? What you've seen of him?
Yeah, super happy when he signed. I've wanted him for a couple of years, like I'm sure most of us have. 6 was the biggest need for us for the last few seasons. So him coming in was awesome, especially with a loan, with an obligation, with an option. The concern is he's 30 years old, I think, right? So, and not much game time. And he didn't look too good in the last game, which again is a concern for me, whether he's got his legs. Yeah. But overall, I can't complain. Overall, given all the options, I'm happy that we brought him in, and also kind of given the way we play against lesser teams who set up in the low mid block. I think Frank will leave him on the bench. Like in the last game, I thought he should have stayed on the bench, given the opposition. But against the big teams, Liverpool, City, Arsenal, and Champions League, he'll be needed for sure.
He was what we needed, James, wasn't he?
I think ultimately he's the first 6 we've had since like maybe Victor Wanyama or Moussa Dembele, maybe even. He's a destroyer. He's going to battle for every ball. He's going to be very defensive. He's going to win ball back. I don't think we've had that for quite some time. I think our issue perhaps in the last game was we had a very defensive midfield. I love Sarr and I love Bentancur, but I don't think either of them are true creative players. And Paulinho was never brought in to be that. He was sent away from Bayern Munich solely because he's not Company's kind of player. Because in the Bundesliga, Bayern are better than everybody else. They don't need a destroyer type of player. They need passers. They need people who can retain possession well Premier League's a whole different game. He's fantastic defensively, and okay, like we lost 1-0, right? But I don't think Paulinho was the reason we lost that game. Okay, he's not fantastic in his passing range, but he was good defensively for the most part, and he's exactly the kind of player we need. We're playing PSG in the Champions League, and I thought in our Super Cup game, I thought Paulinho was pretty good. We only started conceding when he went off the pitch. So, I don't think you can really have any complaints about him. He's 29. He was a Premier League staple for Fulham, and he was fantastic for Fulham. And ultimately, it was a loan deal, no real risk for us. And he's already shown in his first few matches that he can fully match the Premier League's physicality. And, I think buy option is only like 25 million. So no heavy risk for us, I don't think.
Yeah, I mean, in the 23-24 season, Eugene, he made about twice as many tackles as any player in that position. And I actually think he's a decent passer, and he pops up with goals, Eugene.
Yeah, I mean, he's good in the air. He's a decent passer, but his passing, usually it's just short passing to give out the ball. He's not a progressive passer per se, but he does his job well, right? He's a ball winner, a destroyer. He's had issues with discipline, yellow cards, red cards. But again, I think he's a great signing as long as he's still got the legs. If he can run, he'll do bits for us.
Have a look at these chats again. Ian's saying he can't see the show on X, but the arrow's ticked above here, so it's showing it on X. So I don't know what that issue is, Ian. If the show's not going out on X, it should be. We've got 66 viewing us live, Ian, and 70 now viewing us live, and they're not in the chat, so they've got to be viewing us on other platforms. And thank you for supporting us, you guys that are viewing us on various platforms. And please hit that subscribe button if you haven't at the bottom right-hand corner, because we're about 13 short of 1,500, and we're only a fledgling group. We've only been going just over a year. Right, let's see who's here. Okay, good evening, gents. Paul Brown, good friend of the show. I see his comments on X usually as well. Let's fall asleep on him. Let's see, mate. Scroll down a few more. I think he's talking to you. I think he's talking to you there, James, with that comment.
Oh, wait. Wait, they find this.
Was this? No, I wouldn't take Dele. I'm sorry. I loved him when I was at the club. He's done. He's just done. Some people they reach it and they're at the end, and he's just at the end. If he couldn't do it at Como and places like that, he's never doing it in the Premier League, is he? Let's be fair.
Too much too soon for him.
Go on.
Too much too soon.
Can I reply to Spurs GTV? Greg LaFilth done a cracking cover of No Time to Cry by the Sisters. Sisters of Mercy, great band, by the way. Misspent youth as a goth. The real question is, why aren't you goth anymore, mate? Like, that's what I'm saying.
What are we doing here?
Anyway, sorry. Hey, people asking me about music.
Big up Blaine Gibson. I admire his generosity spirit. He does it on lots of channels. I mean, big up to him. It really helps other channels as well.
I do know that cover for reference. Great cover. Mercy, great.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's the I think on Dele Alli as well, like, fantastic player in his day, and he's obviously had his troubles with, mental health issues. Bad things happened to him as a child, which I think we can all sympathise with. And I think there's a large part of all of us who's quite nostalgic for Dele Alli. And on some level, I want to say, give him an ambassadorial role at the club, because I think he'd be brilliant for mental health outreach, doing charity for the club, and, coaching even, perhaps. He could do a lot of roles at the club that aren't football related, but would still give him a purpose and, could do a lot of good for the community. But I don't think he's at the level required to play football for us anymore.
No, he's not. He's not.
Yeah. I do still think he could perhaps be given an opportunity by the club in something other than playing football. In ambassadorial work. Obviously, he's been very outspoken in his mental health issues. I'm sure he was something brilliant for the club in that regard. but I don't think he should play for the club. Personally.
Maybe we can get him as a physio. It can't get any worse than what we have right now. So,
well, you could talk about roles for lots of ex-players that are deserving of roles and things like that. And it's just, even with the mental health issues, when these pop up with players, I don't think managers, like even Frank and all that, they would tread on eggshells around players like that, because you're not skilled or taught how to deal with people that have got these issues. You can't be like everything to every situation that crops up and be knowledgeable about it, or all mental health issues. How do you deal with it? I mean, I was in management. I had to deal with a couple of people, and I said, look, I just not been trained to be able to deal with these situations, right? So in the end, you get someone with issues like that, and really you don't want to employ them. It's a sad indictment, but you don't. Right, anyway, we'll move on. Don't want to get all depressing, right? Not as we've had a decent. Right, this guy. I love this guy, Eugene.
yeah.
Opportunist though, wasn't he? Opportunist signing.
I do too. I mean, he's very exciting. He's got the flair that we need. He's got the creativity that we need. But as my friend Blaine says all the time to me, Prem proven is important. So my only concern is that now we see Wirtz struggle at Liverpool with the adjustment, and Wirtz is, he's a top player.
Yeah.
Simons has everything ability-wise. Again, the flair, the creativity. He's young enough. My only concern is whether he'll transition to the league quick enough to help us right away. That's my only concern, but I was super excited for this signing, definitely.
It's going to be interesting to see how Frank utilised him, James.
Yeah, I think the big thing from coming from the Bundesliga, which is equally, I think, comparative to the Premier League, it's equally physical, equally technical. I think the big jump is in quality. So how does he make that quality jump more so than coming from the Italian league or the Spanish league? I think he'll be up to match in terms of physicality and technical ability and speed. And I feel like with a manager like Thomas Frank, he's going to be able to fit him in. I think he's a great player. I'm always a little bit hesitant. I do, to some extent, think the whole Premier League proven thing is silly, because, was Diego Costa Premier League proven when he went to Chelsea and scored 25 goals? No. Was Eden Hazard Premier League proven? No. Was Gareth Bale particularly Premier League proven? No, he came into his own. Also, was Sergio Aguero Premier League proven? No, and he won the league for Man City. I think the big difference is how, what kind of player are they? And I think Xavi is very much a technical player, and I think it'll be fine. Like, if you can hack it in Germany, you can hack it in the Premier League. Like, yes, players like Hill, very technical, not very physical, they might struggle in the Prem. But I don't think Xavi Simons is going to struggle in the Prem. I really like him. I think he's a very good signing. And I think a manager like Thomas Frank will be able to utilise him correctly. Even if he might have a little adjustment period, because he's the same age as me, so he's gonna have an adjustment period, right?
Yeah. Eugene, a good signing. So he's done it at international level. He scored against England, right? So that is a good sign if you're doing it with against other elite players. So he might take him time to settle, but I've got no worries about him at all. No. If we couldn't get Eze, he was the guy I wanted. I've been going on about it for a long time. So.
Yeah, Eze was my first choice again, because I've seen him do it in the Prem, and he's in his prime, and we need players to help us right now. But yeah, Simmons, I never thought we're going to get him. I thought for sure he's going to go to Chelsea. But again, he's exciting. I'm really excited, but I just don't want the fans to put too much pressure on him right away. Again, as we see with Wirtz at Liverpool, it takes a while for a young midfielder to adjust to the physicality of the Prem. So it might take him a while. And given how desperate we are for a 10, my concern is that all the fans are going to expect for him to hit, to just do bits right away. And it might take him a while.
Yeah, the only reason I wanted Eze over him was because Eze was homegrown. That was it. Apart from that, you couldn't pick between the two. Eze's got that individual brilliance flash out of a moment that he's got, and he's and he's good on the ball. If anything, I think Xavi Simons is different in a way that will give you more energy, and I think it'll give you more consistency. Brilliant players tend to drop off a bit here and there. Yeah, so but they're both fantastic players, and as we couldn't get Eze, I don't think we could have got anyone better than Xavi Simons in instead. And it was unusual because I was joking with EMF about it. We talked a few days before the sign, and I went like, why is it I said clubs don't give players a 5-year deal with a 2-year option instead of a 1-year? I said, because you either take the option up or you don't. And it would help like when players run down contracts. Obviously, you've got to agree the 2-year option with the player and his agent and all that. But I just thought, why then? And then straight away I said to Ian, it's kismet. They've done it, Right. So we move on to the next guy. A lot of noise about this guy and the deal. James, have you been listening to all the noise around this guy about, oh, why is it only a deal? Why isn't it with an option to buy or an obligation to buy?
Yeah, look, good player. I've been reading that PSG wanted a buy option, but we wouldn't accept it for whatever reason. Presumably, to me, that only means one thing, which is obviously Daniel Levy thinks he can get a better deal later on. Looks like a good player. Perhaps attitude issues. I mean, bouncing around from PSG, Juventus, Bayern Munich, big clubs. Yeah, agreed. I don't know. He's a lone player. Presumably, they'll want to do a deal. We'll see how it goes. But, I mean, obviously, this was sort of a last-minute deal because, there was injuries in the squad. I think on some level, Frank doesn't really rate Solanke, which is sort of a worrying indictment. But, hey, look, I think he's a good player. He scored, I think, 10 goals and 18 appearances for Juventus last season. So he's obviously not a bad player. He has an okay track record for PSG. He can also play out wide. Whatever the technical fine details of the agreement was, he's obviously a decent player. So we solved an issue in the squad. Let's be happy about that.
Eugene?
I'm torn. I mean, if you look at our options up front, Richarlison, Solanke, they're not good enough. So adding one more option with his attributes, it's a pretty good deal. Also, getting him on loan is good because I don't want us to buy a player who we won't be able to sell in a couple of years because that's what we do. My concern is if he does well, we have no option. My perfect scenario would be loan with an option. Again, also I'm concerned about his stint at PSG. They paid 90+ million for him, and he didn't work out. Right away, he was shipped out. So something's up. I'm not sure what the problem was. At Juve, he was doing okay, but again, different league. So he's got the attributes, he's got the power, the pace. How he adjusts, we'll see. But just given our options, it's not a bad deal. The more options, the better for us at this point.
Yeah, I see him playing on the left, and I see him playing in a central as well, and I see him interchanging with Simmons, who can also move out onto the left as well. So that's an interesting angle to come at. I've posted videos of him about everywhere as usual. He scores a lot of goals with his right foot. He's good on the half turn. He is quick. As soon as he gets around that penalty area, he's looking to get a yard on someone and get a shot off. And although he scores most of his goals with his right foot, I see him score a couple of bangers with his left, and they were skillful left-footed goals as well. So he can do it with both feet. It's just that the deal's strange, and like the 1-year option, you'd think we'd just go from the right. But I've got a theory about that. I'm going to bring up later after we go when we get to the end of transfer windows as well, which Alice, who does her show, she made a brilliant point on this, and I'm with her on a theory actually. Yeah, I think he's a fantastic signing. I mean, he does improve us. In fact, right, I actually think all 4 players definitely improve us. They're all needle movers in their own way if they hit the ground running. Right, so let's deal with this question, guys. Thanks for the question, Chris Green. Out of Porro, Spence, and Doggy, who would be your top 2?
Porro and Spence, easy.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, Spence and Doggy. I don't really rate Porro personally. He's fantastic going forward. I think he is.
Wow.
I don't think he's competent. He's terrible defensively. He cannot defend.
He's technically superb. He's technically superb.
Yeah.
Okay, but he can't defend, can he?
He's the only player that we have who can cross the ball. Like nobody else can put in a cross. And Udogie, honestly, I'm surprised he's not very good defensively either. He bombs forward, but Udogie disappointed me.
Yes.
Year plus.
My argument against that would be Udogie may have defensive liabilities, but his physicality and pace make up for that. Porro cannot defend one-on-one. Like, he is genuinely shocking defensively. Brilliant going forward. If we play a back 3, yes, play him at right wing back. He's fantastic. He is superb going forward. Technically, brilliant crosser, brilliant in all those areas. He's quick, he's brilliant at all that. I just don't think he's very good defensively. I think he's a lot like Kieran Trippier in the sense that, like, superb going forward. He's a bit of a liability defensively. I think Spence and Udogie are both a lot better, even if they perhaps technically are a little bit poor. I think their strength and physicality make up for a lot of that. And I don't know, like sometimes I do wonder, are we not better off with someone like Spence or like Udogie, who are scrappy, who are physical, who battle it out, rather than a guy who's quite technical in a lot of instances, especially when a lot of the time going forward, it seems like we're not playing to just cross the ball 1,000 times a match. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Go on, Eugene.
Oh yeah, sorry. I disagree. I mean, well, I think Pence is better on the left defensively, anyways. I think, and with Porro, just given who we have up front, again, we don't have any technical or a lot of technical players because we struggle to score with chances. And if we have Richarlison or Solanke, we need somebody to cross the ball. We have nobody to cross the ball other than Porro. And then if you look like last season, Johnson on that side is useless tracking back. Now with Kudus, if Kudus tracks back and helps out, I think we might be okay against most teams. It's rare. Like he's pretty poor defensively, but there haven't been a lot of games where he's been found out completely. But what he gives us, I think, Udogie, I had very high expectations. He had very good 6 months when he came in. But after that, he hasn't convinced me, in defense or going forward. I just haven't seen enough from Udogie.
I can respect that. I think we've been found out in a few games with Porro, the right back. I think that as fantastic as he is going forward, every time I see him in a 1v1 versus a winger, I expect him to lose it. And he often does. And brilliant if he can improve on that. And I think he's a great wing back. I just don't think he's a fullback. I think he's a brilliant wing back, not a fullback. And that's my big issue with Porro.
Yeah, I get that. He isn't as poor defensively as others make out. He has got back and made blocks and got tackles in the past. Technically very good going forward. I get all that. With me, Chris, in answer to your question, I'm different to Eugene. It's only opinions that's subjective. I'm always playing Udogie on the left. And when it comes to the other two, it all depends who we're playing. Now, to me, I think Spence should have played on the right against Semenyo because he's the second fastest player at the club. And when Spence played on the left against Salah at home and bossed him, it's because Salah's inverted, Spence is inverted, So it's as if they would both be playing on the right anyway. So he shows in a game like that he can play as well as a right back, because he's like playing as a right back and a left back position, doing that, playing against an inverted winger, which is very common now because most teams seem to play inverted wingers. They all play this same robotic style, bores the crap out of me, to be honest with
And
you.
Adrian, if you look at the best wingers in the league, or I think the majority play on that right-hand side, right? Embuemo, Saka, Salah. So, and he's definitely our best defensive fullback, wingback. So I'd put him up against the best winger and just,
Yeah,
just let him
because
go
you can
one-on-one.
switch him over. I mean, it's easy being clever. We don't want to dwell on the Bournemouth game, but it's easy to put him, to dwell on the games and when things go wrong, be clever in hindsight. But to me, if you know Semenyo's Fran, I thought, Frank, I just think you'll have learnt from this game that when you're playing against teams like that and you've got the second fastest player behind VDV at the club in Spence, put him against a dangerous winger rather than. I mean, Porro's no slouch, don't get me wrong. But Spencer's got that extra yard of pace like VDV has got to just get back in time. And I just think he should have played. Look, they're three very good players. They're all different. They're different gravy. I'm such a big fan of a fit, fully functioning Udogie. I just think he's a powerhouse. He's hard to play against. So I'm definitely playing him at left back. I think he could go on and be, put my neck out here, I could go up being one of the best left-sided defenders on the planet. But I could well be proven wrong there.
I mean,
and with Porro and Spence, I think Porro's got the best technique out of the three of them. But Koulias does very odd crossing. Decky would if he was playing.
I mean, what a shift in sort of mentality we had in the span of 12 months. 12 months ago, who of us would be speaking about Spence? None of us, right?
And now he's just signed a long contract,
right? Like Spence was my favorite player last season because he's the only person in our squad who I thought showed a lot of fight. He's a scrappy player, a little bit like Lamella. I really like Spence, and I don't know. I feel like he's the only person who really gets Spurs out of all of our fullbacks. Truly gets Spurs. He's scrappy. He fights, and he's not a bad player. I mean, we signed him because he battered the team from Woolwich, who haven't won anything for 5 years. So,
yeah. I'm glad we've got all three of them. They're all going to get plenty of game time this year. Yeah. Just going through some more of the comments. Karu, I've seen you before. Welcome, mate. I will. Stop for us to get Savino next. I'm going to come on to the Savino bit next. Well, not so much Savino. I'll come on to when we've gone through that. In fact, actually, we could. No, let's talk about it now. Alice made a very good point on her show. We have actually. Let me give you a banner on this because I want to show you what we spent, what we actually spent. Okay. This is why I was going to come on to it, Cairo, because two of you alluded to this now, so I'll come on to it. Koulias 55 mil, Tel 30, Kota Takai 5, Simmons 51, Danso 21 paid off, loans 8.6, that was 4.3 mil, 2 loans on Polina and Kolo Romani. That total outlay was 170 mil, 6.6 mil, but we got 20 mil for Son, which I thought was a blinding fee. Gil 8.7 just recently, 70 mil that had to be paid for Højbjerg. So our net spend is only 124.9 mil. If you believe, right, this is what I'm thinking with the Lookman deal not going through and all that. If you believe the rumours that we had 200 mil to spend, then we've got 70 odd mil left. Now, Alice alluded to the thing on her show. Her theory was Spurs didn't want to spend the money because they're keeping this money for a big money signing, possibly January or the summer. But what's your take on that, Eugene? You're laughing.
I mean, I've been hearing about, our war chest for years now. We have this war chest with all this money, which we never seem to spend. Again, I'm all for not spending money on average players who will have a hard time selling in a couple of years. But given, just talking about this transfer window as a whole, in isolation, we did good business, right? If you just look at the players that are coming in and say we have 4 new starters, which is good. However, if you look before the season, the needs that we had, and every single fan said we need a left winger, we need a left-sided center back, we needed another fullback, right? And we did not address those positions at all, which is my issue. And just given how this transfer window played out, time spent on Gibbs White, on Eze, it just seemed like, again, we didn't have a plan. And last couple of days, we just made opportunistic signings with Simmons and Mwani. So it's, again, like in isolation, good window, good players. And yes, I'm hopeful that we can take the money that's left over and spend it in January. However, if you just look at what Levy said, that he wants us to compete for, the league, Champions League, compete on all fronts, we're one injury away in 4 positions to have a season like we had last season. We're very thin. We didn't address our most critical positions, and that's where I feel uneasy with what we've done.
James, do you think we've been keeping our powder dry? Because we got Moani on a loan, right? Now, we were rumoured to be going in big anyway for Savinho as well, right? And we're rumoured to go to about 70 mil for that. So to me, whether ENIC will put an investment in or whether there's other deals going to be revealed to us at a later date, a naming right still doesn't fix it, because if you've got 25 mil a year, that just pays the interest on our debt, right? So we need more than that.
In terms of investment, the stadium produces enough sufficient funds to pay off our interest payments on our loan, realistically. So we don't really have to actually worry about our stadium debt. It produces, I think, like 40 million a year of, having concerts and naming rights, all that jazz, food, drink, all that jazz. That pays the loan fees, which I think are 25 million a year. Whereas Arsenal had like a ridiculously terrible loan structure payment. Anyway, look, I think most of our signings were quite good. And yeah, maybe I think the only signing that was opportunistic was Kulu Mwani, because obviously we had an injury, so we recognized that we had to bring in another attacking option. So we brought in one, but it's a loan option. If he's terrible, it's very low risk for us. I think it was a 5 million loan option. If he's great, cool, we can discuss a permanent transfer window. But if he's not good, then it's very low risk. I think we've strengthened the squad. Yes, perhaps we ought to have done a little bit more, maybe another centre-back, maybe a left winger. But I think all the people we brought in improved the team. And I can't recall the last time we've done this in recent years. And yeah, I think it's a good window. Maybe we ought to have signed 1 or 2 more players, but I think we've greatly improved the team.
I agree. The window is good, right? There is no question this is probably our best window in forever, in a long time. But again, right, if we're in the Champions League, and Adrian, as you mentioned, there was money. We made some bids that were rejected. There was a war chest from last season or the season before. There's potential investment. So not bringing in a left winger, you cannot tell me that in Europe there is not one left winger other than Savinho that Frank didn't want. That's a huge position of need. So for us, re-signing Tell or signing Tell on permanent makes no sense completely, because then we're going after Savinho. That's 40 million that we could have spent elsewhere. Right? So now, yeah, go
sorry.
ahead.
Ultimately, I think Tell is something of a prospect signing. In other words, we think he'll come good. I think we should have gone in for Lookman fully. Just spend. We were prepared to spend 70 million on Savinho. Go spend that on Lookman. I think
agree.
Lookman's fantastic.
But
I don't know why we didn't do that. But
I think we're holding off. I think Savinho still wants to come. I think we're holding money back. We went for a loan. Atlanta dug the heels in. Fair enough. He's their player. I think we're holding back. I think we've got money there. And don't forget, by the time we get round to January, we'll have earned a lot more money, another 8 games in the Champions League, right? I just took my 70 quid for my ticket for the 16th after we
But
come back.
Adrian, how can we hold back? And again, I don't want to be negative. I'm just, of my opinion. How can we hold back when we're so thin and playing on like twice a week? One injury to Spence, we're done.
Well,
Injury
it's
to
just a
Polinia,
theory,
we're done.
because, I mean, I might be thinking totally, coming at it at a wrong angle. I mean, because like it's just a theory. Because Ange is on record. Ange, I keep doing that. I've cut the umbilical cord with Frank. Frank has been on record. He said if he can't get the player he wants, then he'll wait. Now, maybe Frank doesn't fancy Lookman for some reason. A lot of the fan base do, or they're more
Lookman, I agree.
desperate to get a left-sided player in. So go for the loan. Sarri does. We don't know when you're doing the due diligence now on a player. You want to know that his background, his attitude. Is he a team player? Is he a troublemaker? Things are unique. If a player's got that around him and he's very skillful and he's good and you like the player, I don't want him coming in upsetting the dressing room.
With
Personally,
Lookman, Adrian, with
I don't
Lookman,
know.
I agree. There is a reason why nobody went for Lookman. But Savio cannot be the only left winger in the world that Frank likes. And again, given where we are, we cannot just say that's who he wants and that's it. That's
No, I
a
think it was
position of need.
Eze or Savino on the left, 2 players of quality, and I thought, all right, Eze's more experienced and proven, and he's a ball carrier, So
As is a 10. Like,
yeah, he's not so much a dribbler, but then I mean, Moani is though. Moani dribbles, right? Whereas whereas Simmons is more likely to sort of like half turn and step to the side and zoom past you that way more than be a dribbler. He's more dynamic in a way, more direct. Simmons is, in my opinion, but yeah, I mean, we don't know the reasons, do we? We think like, oh, we should have got Lookman. Okay, I get that. I'd have taken him. What I've seen.
not Lookman, just anybody better, like anybody who improves that. Because like what we saw over the weekend, Johnson was dreadful. It's like we were playing with 10 men. And Odebert, when he came in, he didn't offer much. Tell doesn't offer much.
I don't know how we approach this or who we may have been in or not. We know that at the beginning of the window, apart from getting Kudus in after getting him in, it then became a clusterfuck with Morgan Gibbs White and Eze, right? I mean, that was just a shambles. I mean, if we knew he was divvying and all that, and we went in after we didn't get Morgan Gibbs White anyway, but if we knew, we should have sort of known that Eze is only coming to us as second choice. Arsenal was always going to be his first choice. Why did we drag our feet? Why did we drag our feet on that, right? And I mean, it wasn't the money. So go on, James.
I feel like that's sort of classic Levy, right? Like, we tried. Do you know what I mean? And I will say, 2 of my friends are watching the show, one of whom is a West Ham fan, and one of whom is a Woolwich fan. And no, my mate is a West Ham fan. He's a good lad. He hates Arsenal.
Impossible.
He hates Arsenal more than we do. Trust me, mate. And I said to him, tell my mate who is an Arsenal fan, George, you have to win a trophy before asking questions. But yeah, look, I think with Eze, maybe he played us, maybe he didn't. Maybe we dragged the feet, maybe whatever. But I always like to return to what Vicario said when he signed for us. And he said, I would walk and write it in blood if it meant signing for Spurs. If a player isn't 110% committed to the football club, go elsewhere. I don't care. That's the correct mentality.
But what about Simons? He wanted Chelsea the whole time, right? Simons, the same situation as with Eze, right? Eze agreed to personal terms, meaning he was fine with coming if Arsenal didn't come in for him. The only reason why we signed Simons is because Chelsea didn't come in. He wanted Chelsea the whole time.
They got enough package in, they got Garnacho in, didn't they, on the left? So go on,
but he wanted Chelsea, right?
I mean, that's
it's like Umbuemo, with Umbuemo, he said only United, and he didn't deal with any other team. Eze agreed to personal terms with us, meaning if Arsenal wouldn't come in, he'd come.
Right.
So, every player is a fan of some team. So,
on one hand, do you think that Xavi would have gone to Chelsea if we didn't come in? B, do you think Thomas Frank would accept someone who wasn't fully committed?
But they're, the footballers are professionals, right? Like every footballer is a fan of some team. But when it's time to do their job, they do their job. There's no question in my mind
No.
if we trigger Eze's release clause sooner, he'd come and he'd play for us, and he'd give us 1,000%.
I don't think they're necessarily professionals. I think they're humans who have feelings about certain things. Vicario doesn't say so strongly that he's proud to play for Tottenham.
Well, if Madrid would have been an option for him, he wouldn't say that. We were the only big club that was coming from him.
Maybe he doesn't support fascism. I mean,
no, but he had no options.
I get your point, right? I get your point.
Like we're the biggest club that came for him. He had no other options. If it was us or Man City, I'm sure he'd say something else. So it's.
I mean, right? Like I get your point, right? I get your point. But
I love the passion as much as anybody else. I'm a passion merchant. I love it. I want my players to be.
I think my broader point is I don't want players who don't want to be at Spurs.
I agree.
Yeah, we're all the same. I think like that. Yeah.
Then go elsewhere. Was Xavi interested in going to Chelsea?
Oh yeah,
maybe
no, it was all Chelsea the whole time. The whole window, he said he wants to go to Chelsea.
They wanted Fermin Lopez at Barcelona, right? They got Garnacho in, right? They've got enough attacking midfielders there. They didn't really need him there unless you were going to play him on the left, and they ended up getting Garnacho. So I think that was the main reason. And then he realised they'd agreed to terms with him before they got Garnacho and other players in. So. Yeah, so I think that was the reason. I mean, I put this up when you alluded to it earlier, Eugene, that the squad still lacks depth. I know that we could do with a left centre back and a left back, or it could be a right back if Spence goes over the left. If he was going for a right back, I'd like Vanderson at Monaco. But I mean, because we don't know what Frank's doing as such. Yeah, I'm getting an idea of who he trusts by the substitutions he makes. He tells you that he does trust Bergvall, he does trust Tell, he does trust Gray. He trusts the youngsters. He does trust them, and he sees them in training. So, yeah, that's all good. But my hope is, because there are a lot of fans on various shows are worried about, what happens if we get injuries to centre-backs? Dragason's back in training now. We don't know how good he is. We haven't seen enough. You can write him off if you want, but I haven't written him off yet. Tokai again. We haven't seen him. We don't know what he's like, right? So, but my hope is that with these loans we've done for Ashley Phillips, even Vuskovic, Dorrington, that we've rubbed two brain cells together, our recruitment team, and said, right, you go out on loan, and part of the condition of the loan is if we end up in an emergency situation, we call these players back and make the other one sign up to that. Because that at least that would make sense if we had a really bad injury crisis. It's not likely, but you'd want to put something precautionary in after last season.
But Adrian, if you look at it, we know Van der Ven and Romero, they will miss games, right? They have chronic issues. Van der Ven with hamstrings, Romero with his calf. So they're going to miss games. That's a given. Udogi, unfortunately, he's injury prone. I think that's his body type. But unfortunately, there's an issue. Richarlison, we know he's injury prone. Solanke is out. So it's not if, it's when. And my fear is, given a run of games and Champions League and all the cups, we're just 1 or 2 injuries away from a crisis. Like we all saw in the PSG game, the drop-off from Palhinha to Archie Gray. I mean, Bissouma is going to be gone, right? He's going to end up in Turkey. So we don't have any sixes other than Archie Gray. So it's, our first 11 is good enough to maybe finish top 6, right, and compete. However, our squad is just, it concerns me. I don't remember last season where we didn't have injuries. And again, we do have players who are chronically injured. It's not like with Bentancur, you can say it was bad luck, right? Because it was an ankle, it was an ACL. That's bad luck. But with Romero and Van der Ven, it's not bad luck. That's just the way they're going to be, unfortunately.
Yeah, you're right. So blame, because I call him Fabricatio Romano. Or Fabricatio. Fabrication. Right.
I can't predict the future. I'm just going by the past. I'm going by facts.
let me. This is the injury situation you're concerned about. Madison's long term, we know. Kulusevski, you won't see him to the new year probably. Takai about 2 weeks away. He's virtually like he had the toe issue. Dragison's back running and training, so he's a couple of weeks away. So he won't have had a pre-season, but he should be back after the international break. Solanke, there were a lot of rumours about him, serious injury, blah blah blah, and all that. And today I've seen a frank quote, minor ankle issue. Grumbling one that's annoying. So if it is, it is, and this is from Frank. So unless he's misquoted, of course, I can only go to sources and find out. So if Solanke's only got a minor ankle issue, if it's one of them aggravating injuries, eventually you might have to have a bit of surgery or something. But if not, it depends, If he's needed, I mean, players don't want to have surgery and be out for lengthy times unless they can help it. A lot of them play through knocks through the season, So yeah, I mean,
if you like, Madison is out for the season. Kulusevski's back in December, and I'm sure it's going to take him a while to ramp up. So we need to survive until the January window with the squad that we have right now, basically.
I mean, in one way, because I like Simmons, I like Teze. Although it might be a sort of a cruel way to think about it, callous way to think about it. If Madison hadn't got injured, we wouldn't be getting Xavi Simmons.
Yep, I agree. And that's when I was going about lack of planning and being reactive. That's what I meant. I just feel like with Mawani, we got him because Solanke is hurt, and we got Simmons because Madison is hurt. And if you take those away, what was the plan from the club going into this transfer window? It cannot be just Gibbs White, Eze, and Savio. That's it, right? We need to have a better plan than that. Yeah. So that's my concern. We're being instead of building a squad that makes sense, we react to circumstances.
Yeah, well, I said at the beginning of the window, I think we need to bring in 6. I knew we weren't going to bring in 6, but to bring in 4, like you alluded to, is our best ever window. And then on top of that, everyone thought Romero was leaving, and for him to sign a 4-year contract, that is a bonus. We knew Danso was going to sign. He loves it. He wanted to come to the club. And Spence was a bonus with his extension on his contract, a long contract for him. So I think it's been there's holes to fill. We still know the left centre-back and the left-back, or a right-back, all depending where Spence is going to end up, because we don't know. This is one thing we don't know about Frank. But I'm looking at his subs and seeing, I'm Frank though, guys. I mean, what's your take? I'm looking at his subs because I like to see the subs that the manager uses when everyone's fit. If you've got a match day squad of 20 players, 9 on the bench, I'm looking to think, who's the 5 he's left out if they're not injured or suspended? And out of them 9, who does he bring on? And do we see him bring the same players on after a few games? After about half a dozen games, we should have a good insight into Frank's thinking.
Yeah.
I mean, what's our back four? Let's say in a cup game, what's our back four, right? If we want to rest our starters, we're one short because Dragusin, he's going to be out for a few more weeks. So, and even if he plays, I'm not the biggest fan, but given, let's say, in a League Cup game, what's our back four? Who plays wing-back?
You could play Davis and Danso. Danso will come in with his long throws, right? So Davis against Doncaster, I don't see why Davis and Danso don't play against Doncaster.
And fullbacks?
The last time we played them, we beat them 7-2. That was a long while ago.
Yeah.
The 70s, I think. Yeah.
I just don't want to see Archie Gray as a fullback. I honestly, I'm afraid that we can ruin his career playing him at right back or center back.
I can see him doing it Burnley against Doncaster and playing Gray, Bergvall, and Saar.
Yeah, I agree.
And giving Gray, he's shown signs of. See, he's another one who's marmite to the fan base. I like the player. I've seen a lot of Gray though before he came to Spurs. So, he in midfield in that first half against Brighton, but we had the deck chairs out, didn't we? The season was over. We'd won the Europa League, and then they battered us in the second half, Brighton. But he did okay. He did okay against Burnley. I thought he's shown it, and he needs to show that to convince fans that doubt him. But I think he can do a very good job for us, and it is I mean, it is a squad game now. We're going to be playing a minimum of 51 games. We're not going to finish 25th in the Champions League in the table and not get the 2 playoff games. So you've got 10 games there, 38 league games. Right, that's 48 games. 2 domestic cup games is 50. If we don't think we're going to beat Doncaster, it's going to be 51. Should we be in the playoffs and we have a really appalling Champions League run, which we won't have, then you'd be playing 53 games. I mean, I expect us. I think Frank's right. We're not going to win. Look, we know we're not going to win the Premier League or the Champions League. We could get to. Well, if we're at good form and we're all confident going in, you never know with form, and we're injury free, we could quarterfinals, I think. But once you get to the last 4, you are talking top quality teams. Then you know what I mean.
I mean, my expectation is, I mean, we gotta finish top 6, and then there is like, if we don't make it out of the group stages of Champions League, that would be a failure. Because other than PSG and Dortmund, it's pretty much a Europa. You know, all the teams are Europa teams basically. So we definitely have to make it out of the group and top 6. But again, that's gonna, if we stay fit, that's my concern.
Yeah. So in January we might be looking for. Well, depends if Dragerson and Kota Takai smash it and get games and look good. We won't be looking for a defender in January, but that's hoping a lot. And as I've always said, hope is not a strategy. Gill's gone to Girona. I think 10 million euros.
That's got to be the worst transfer in the history of Western civilization.
Yeah, and we gave him Lamella.
And 25 million.
I like Lamella, and he was injury prone, but he could look after himself, like, you know.
Yeah.
So he's gone. Now we've got a loan for this guy. I don't know why Leeds didn't come in for him. Palace were in for him as well. Don't know what happened there. But he's gone to Villarreal. He can play against us because UEFA rules are when we're transferring players between clubs here, we can say, or loan them, we can say in the Premier League the rules are different. You can't. But with the Champions League, once you're named in the squad, because you've got to list your quota of players, which we have to do ours by midnight tonight, Eugene. So you'll be up to see the list, right? I think it's about 11 o'clock. I think it's around about now. We have to put the 25-man squad up. Be interested to see who's left out. I think Kingsky's going to get left out again. But I'm talking about the foreign ones. I don't know about Dragerson. If he needs an extra centre back and he knows he's going to be fit, he'll want to have a look at him. I don't know. I think Kingsky will get left out though as one, right? But
so Kinsky. So who would be the backup keeper?
You got Austin. You could bring Gunter into the squad. He hasn't been loaned out yet.
Yeah, Gunter's too young. Yeah, it's gonna be Austin. Which, yeah, let's hope that Vicario stays fit. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, because I mean, I know he's got his faults and he makes the odd classic error, like coming for the ball that he didn't get in the final and VDV clearing on the line. But some of them saves he made against Bournemouth were outstanding, right? And I just think he's a more instinctive saver than Kingsky is. Yeah, I think Kingsky's got potential. I mean, his dad was a good goalkeeper.
He's still young, so yeah. I mean, he needs a few more years to develop. But I mean, ultimately, if we want a challenge, I don't think that Vicario is good enough. But he's the least of our concerns right now. For the next couple of years, he's good enough for us.
And I think this guy's going to be left out of the squad.
No, he's going to Turkey.
The Turkish transfer window is still open, as in the Saudi window. I think the Northern Hemisphere Scandinavian team window is different because of their winter, but he wouldn't be going there anyway. So I think he could well end up in Turkey.
Yep.
Or he stays. Or he stays. I mean, I've been done with him for a long time. I know he played well towards the end of last season. Fans always seem to fall in love with these players again. He's just not produced it long enough, you know. And he does pass a brilliant square ball to an opponent across the midfield.
It's the head loss. I mean, the penalty that he gave away against Chelsea, he played really well in the cup final, but United were that team. So, but against big teams, he makes mistakes. and he's just not a professional. I don't want to see him on the team.
And he had 3 suspensions last year.
Yeah, no,
He
he's
simulated dive against Luton, didn't he? Got him a red card. Luckily, VDV scored and Decky held the ball up all the second half for us to get through the game. No, I just think he's very. You don't play in the Premier League if you're not. He's very skillful. I mean, if his head was right, and turning up late for training is not a good example to the rest of the squad. If he can do it, why can't we do it? And nothing done about it. I mean, it's no excuse. I mean, getting up in the morning to go into training. There's no excuse for being late.
I was saying for a while, there are some players who love football and others who play because they're good at it, but they don't love it. And I just don't think that Bissouma loves it. He plays it because it's his job and he's good at it, but he doesn't, like in my opinion, he doesn't love it. He doesn't want to improve. He's going through the motions, for me, my opinion.
To encourage him to go, I think he'll be left out the ECL squad and told, like, you're not going to get much game time, so I advise you to go to Turkey. Then there's this guy, Scarlett. Scarlett and Gunter have been loaned out, which is unusual. Now, I think Scarlett wasn't loaned out because we're waiting to see what happens with Solanke and Richarlison. We're keeping him as backup. He's going to have a good career. I don't think it's going to be at Spurs, though.
No, for Scarlett's sake, we got to sell him. He's got to go to Netherlands and play with Parrot. He's got to go to an easier league because he's not built for the Prem. He's not going to have a career in England.
He's only 20. I watched him as a 17-year-old. He was fantastic. And he scored against Elfsberg, didn't he, from that Decky cross? And he scored that goal when Kane scored 4 against Shakhtar Donetsk in that game. He got the 5th goal, the turn and swivel. Nice finish. He scores goals. When he goes away from England, he scores goals. When he went to Ipswich under McKenna, he didn't get played. Went to Oxford, he got 4 gols in 20 or something. And he needs to be playing football. He needs to be playing football.
He peaked at 17. Some players just peak, and don't, take that step up. So I think for his career, he needs to be sold and play in a different league.
I don't know if they did. I didn't see this, Jimmy. Offered 15. Was that from Solomon? Yeah, I think we were looking for around 15 to 20 for him, I think. Which for a winger in the Premier League, I mean, it's cheap.
Yeah.
What do you get for 20 mil? Yeah, he could. Yeah, it's a good point, Dan. You can have the emergency goalkeeper. That's one player you can bring in. Things happen. That's more reason for leaving him out, which is sad for him, really.
Good point.
Yeah, you have to name 2. That's compulsory. That is a rule. Yeah. No, you're right. You're right, Carew. You're right. Effingham, night, guys. Night, Effingham, wherever you are. Do you think Frank could tend? I just think his attitude's wrong. If any of us were playing for Spurs, right? If we had to be able to train again 10 in the morning, we're going to be up at 7. You know what I mean? Because we're going to love the fact we're playing at a 5-star training ground. You're going to be up early. You're going to get there. And if you're driving or whatever, if it was me, I'd have a chauffeur. I wouldn't drive anywhere. I'm not tiring myself out. I'd be driven to and from the ground, be picked up, taken everywhere. No excuse for that. No excuse for sloppy discipline. And it shows on the field the amount of yellow cards he picks up as well.
Yeah.
I'm
looking at Chris's comment. He said George Best got away with more than that. Well, George Best was a world-class player, and Bissouma is not. So if you're a world-class player, you can get away with more. Bissouma, he cannot.
Yeah. Done that. So with these signings, you think we've got a genuine push for top 5?
I say 5th at best if everything goes our way. I say, depending on our injuries, anywhere between 5th and 8th. I would probably say 6th, but anything outside of 7th, 8th would be a failure for me.
Yeah, we don't want 8th. We don't want that conference.
Yeah, I mean, I say 6th. We got to finish 6th at least for me. But again, with injuries, you never know.
Yeah, I mean, I'll put this. I think fifth is achievable, but we've got to hit with these new players. Have got to hit the ground running. We've got to start. It's too early to talk about form because getting to about half a dozen games or whatever, it's just too early. But our actual games coming up are not that tough, I don't think. Right?
Yeah.
So
And you know what, Adrian? Like another reason, like I guess I'm thinking out loud. Another reason why I'm negative a bit about our business is if you look at the teams around us who will challenge for that fifth spot. Villa got worse, Newcastle got worse, United is still not great. So we have a prime opportunity to seize like that fifth spot or even challenge for the fourth. That's why, in my opinion, we should have gone all in this window to make sure that that spot is ours and even compete with Chelsea or City for the fourth spot because City looks suspect as well. So
yeah.
there's some teams are dropping off. So we do have a good chance for that fifth spot for sure.
It's the attraction with the Champions League is really the money we're going to earn and the fact that you can bring in a better class of player. But I'm not actually adverse like of finishing 6th or 7th because if we're in that Europa League, we can win it. We're not winning the Champions League this year or next year, right? We're not, right? I don't see anyone stopping PSG and Liverpool put up a good fist of it, right? And you got Bayern, and I mean, like Real Madrid. I mean, even like Man City, Arsenal, and all that. I mean, like we're not. We're still playing catch up. We've done a little ways to going towards that in the right direction. We still need to fill some more holes in this team to compete on 4 fronts.
For sure. But then on the other hand, when Levy comes out and says he wants us to challenge for the league and for the Champions League, nobody made him say that. So if he said that, that's a benchmark, right, for the expectations for the club. So if the club comes out with those statements, they need to put their money where the mouth is.
Exactly that. And I think because we got into the Champions League by winning the Europa League, if you're not going to make a move now, and we've got 4 players in, then you're never going to make a move. And we did. We have made a move. It's been a decent window, and we've held on to Romero. So, yeah, I mean, yeah, all good. Right, I'm going to give the channel a plug before we move on. Guys, there's over 100 of you viewing us on various platforms there. If you are new and you like our content, that you can see the red subscribe button in the bottom right-hand corner. We're only about 15 subscribers away at 1,500. We are a fledgling channel. We would like to get there. We've only been going over a year. Our shows do go out Tuesdays, Fridays, and Sundays at 10 o'clock. I host tonight's show. I'll be hosting with Tom, a fellow admin, like during the Champions League campaign when I'm at the games and he's not, or vice versa, or both together. Druzilla hosts the Friday show. I don't know if he'll be doing one this week. I'll come to that in a minute. Ian hosts the Sunday show, and I'm on there with him as well. But we don't really know if we're going to do a show this Friday, Sunday, and the following Tuesday because it's the international break, and we don't want to come and just talk waffle onto you here. We pride ourselves in being a fact-based group and bringing you interesting content, so we don't want to do that. So we do have a Facebook group which I started in 2019, which has got 14,500 members. If you like those sort of platforms, you can hop on Spurs Diehards over there, Spurs Diehards, TTID over there, and we've got a XCOM group which has got 3,280 members on there, apart from the ordinary XCOM group as well. We've got a WhatsApp group. If any of you message us with your phone numbers, we can add you to the WhatsApp group. We use the WhatsApp group, Spurs Diehards WhatsApp group, to get guests on the show. We use it as a sync to draw guests from. And so if you're interested in coming on the show, we'll welcome anyone who's mature and sensible on the show, whether you agree with us or not. It's not important. You just here to express your opinions, right? With that, I want to thank all of you in the chat, all of you in the chat for your questions, and everyone who watches us on playback. A big up to you all. And we'll move on to the next banner. At best, Champions League quarterfinal, Eugene?
I mean, in a cup competition, you never know, right? Like, we could have mad couple of games in advance, so we can dream. It all depends on the draw. But if
It's the last
things
eight
go our way.
quarterfinals. Last 8
Yeah.
teams, you've got to consider who could be there. Bayern, both Spanish giants, you know, the PSG, that's 4. Arsenal, Chelsea, right? Man City, Liverpool, that gives you 8, right? And if we're trying to squeeze in among them, I mean, you never know who's going to knock who out at that stage, right? You know,
Yeah.
but I think at best quarterfinals, semi-finals,
Yeah.
we'll get battered. You know what I mean?
Well, it also
Mm.
depends on our business in January. But one
Mm.
team I don't want to play is Bayern after our friendly. They showed
Yeah.
us different levels.
Yeah, that
But
was at their ground. When we played PSG on a neutral ground, we did much better.
yeah, I mean they were still rusty, but honestly, I'm not afraid of British teams like Chelsea or Arsenal on our day, especially Arsenal, we can do okay. PSG and Bayern, that's a different animal. So yeah, if things go well, we could make, you know, the quarterfinals probably. That's our best.
Yeah, you
But
could
in
be.
the cup games, anything is possible.
Yeah, yeah. I think quarterfinals at best. I mean, like we'd have to finish 25th not to qualify for a playoff games, which would be more money for Levy. Another 2 games. I mean, it's 15 games to win the competition. And with regard to domestic silverware, I mean, it's 6 games to win the FA Cup, 7 to win the League Cup, while it's still got the 2-legged semi-final. I can see that going in the future, though. I think we've got a very. I mean, like, with the cup draws, we can beat anyone at home. So, you know, I think we've got a good chance of nicking a League Cup or FA Cup. I think we've got as good a chance as anyone.
I mean, I never want to throw away any cups, but given our depth, perhaps the League Cup, we can play our B team, and if we get knocked out, we get knocked out. I'd rather go for an FA Cup, to be honest, because I just don't know that we can do all 4. So if I had to
Depth is better than like when we went to Fulham and played 8 different players and things like that. Now, if you're talking about changing Paulinho, Xavi Simons, and Bentancur for Gray, Bergvall, and Sarr, that's not. I mean, it's not too bad a drop off in my opinion. And I actually think now that once Solomon's gone and Basuma's gone and Gill's gone and they're nearly all gone, in future, if other clubs come in for our players, I don't think we've got any players that aren't worth at least 40 mil that we could sell now. Even going back to Gray and Bergvall and all that, I think that they're all worth it. I mean, I think we've got saleable players now. If Frank ever decides he doesn't like any players, he can get some money for them. Like, better than what
we can never sell for some reason. Arsenal and us, we can never sell. If you look at Chelsea and Liverpool, they can sell anybody. We always have a tough time selling. But you know what? Now that I think again about the League Cup, it's better for us if we play big teams early, since early on they play weaker squads versus us meeting Liverpool in the semis. And if we get knocked out, we get knocked out, but we have a better chance against big teams early on in the cup games.
Yeah. Chris Green's got top 4: Liverpool, City, Arsenal, and Chelsea. Yeah, it's a good call.
City doesn't look good.
Newcastle, Villa. Yeah. Don't forget Bournemouth. They've sold a couple of players. They got rid of Zabani and they got rid of Kirkes, and they're a good team. And you're going to cause loads of teams problems. Forest, well, they just got beaten by West Ham, which we wanted Forest to beat them because we got West Ham next.
Oh,
yeah,
no,
I don't know.
they're terrible.
Too early. It could be possible. Champions League, yeah, 5th possible. So good, easy. Well, I'm going to come on to this actually, because one thing I'm pleased about, I will come on to this, maybe not at this very moment. I'll still have a Banazara before then. Yeah, we're only going to probably go for another 15 minutes, guys. I mean, we don't want to bore you to death, right? So, okay. As I said, the Champions League squad must be announced by midnight today. I think it's 11 o'clock actually. It's gone that now. So some of you might be on the ball and know who the squad are. I'm not going to go and flick through my feeds at the moment. There's no rush. But I did post about this. Premier League non-homegrown, 16 currently, 70 allowed maximum. I mean, these are the ones: Ricardo, Kinski, Pororadu, Udogi, and VDV. Yeah, but you know who they are, basically. You know who they are, right? Premier League homegrown players, 7 currently and 8 minimum required. So we are going to be, we do get penalised on numbers, but it doesn't really matter because we can add from the B list, you see. We've still got the numbers. It's just a question if you're losing a quality player. So these are, we got Solanke, Dance, Austin, Davies, Madison, Johnson. But that's why we couldn't get rid of any of these. If you're not a fan of Johnson, he takes a lot of stick. He seems to be the fans' favourite dog to beat with a stick when things aren't going well. You know, and it's same. I mean, like people would like probably like, oh, Danson, what's he doing as well? And like, so yeah. Notable under 21s: Kota Takai, Archie Gray, Lucas Bergvall, Wilson, Matthew Tell. See, they can't go on the B list. Great tell on that because like then they've not been with the under 21s for 2 years. So not with, so yeah. And Scarlett's only 20, believe it. It seems like he's been at the club forever. Right, I did the injury list. So Eugene, 3 games, 6 points, plus 4 goal difference. We're sitting 4th. I'm not complaining.
You know
I
what?
can complain about the result against Bournemouth. Don't get me wrong, we were shit, right? But
As strange as it sounds, I would feel better if we would have lost to City and then beaten Bournemouth. I don't know why, but it's
Wait.
just the Bournemouth game. It reminded me games from last season, minus the attack. At least with Ange, we were wide open in the back, but at least we had chances going forward. And last game, we were wide open in the back while not doing anything in the final third, which was mad to me. And I like Frank a lot as a coach, as a manager. I know he learned from it, but his tactics also didn't make sense to me. Like Porro, we talked previously about his deficiencies. He was all alone on an island. Semenyo is their only player with any quality, or not the only player, but their most dangerous player. And he had all the space in the world. On the other side, Kudus is our most important player, and they doubled him every single time. So tactics to me just didn't make sense. And then the subs, we were so poor. I expected 2 subs at halftime. Polina was dreadful. Sar wasn't good, so I expected Bergvall to come in and maybe just
Pauline is still
defensive subs.
finding his lungs. I think he's still finding his Premier League lungs, like and legs.
Maybe.
You know,
And Johnson was so dreadful. Again, like it's so funny too. If Johnson doesn't score, I don't know where the goals are coming from because nobody else can score. But if he doesn't score, he offers nothing else. It's like playing with 10 men. It was
and the
shocking.
youngsters nearly gave us something we didn't deserve because like Odegaard hit that blaster over the bar. If he kept it down, it would have screamed in the net. And then Toe had that pass through, and it just crept past the post, didn't it? So they,
but they should have scored 5 goals.
Yeah, but look, we didn't deserve anything from that game.
It was so poor.
They were far better than us. But Eugene, where did they find? I mean, all credit to Bob of taking nothing away, Eugene. But where did they find that referee in a circus?
Yeah, but again, it's just it was so shocking to me how we were outplayed. Right, like we can lose the game. Anybody can lose any game in the Prem, but just the level to which we were outplayed, that was shocking to me, both the players and the tactics. And again, I rate Frank, but we got to hold him to account as well. So I have no idea what he was doing tactically, and just the players were so poor. I'm hoping we're going to learn from it, but it does give me some concern about the quality of players that we have. Because against City, we always do well. Against teams who go at us, we're going to do well, right? Against the big teams. My issue is, and we've struggled for a while with the teams who set up in a low block or mid block, who are compact defensively. And with City also, their midfield, they could not physically compete with our midfield. But if we play against Villa or Newcastle, for example, with the midfield that are just as physical as ours,
Tonali and Guimaraes.
Yeah, we're going to struggle. right? If we
Yeah.
cannot outpower other teams, we're going to struggle. So that's my concern. So I want to see how Frank adapts to our competition.
Mm. Right, we're going to have one more talking point, guys. Then we're going to end the show, and I'm going to thank everyone again. Right, so these are our next 2 games. I mean, we've got the same issue as other podcasts. So isn't really going to be much to talk about unless Spurs come up with another their PR blunders in the next 13 days. So like, we will be definitely back next Friday the 15th, but we may not. You may not see us before then, or you may. Right, so we haven't set any shows up for those reasons. Right. Next 2 games, West Ham away Saturday, 13th of September. They pulled a result out against Forest, didn't they? 3-0 away. Paqueta played well.
I'm actually
Surprised
happy.
me.
I'm happy because Forest fans have been talking so much, Wolfie. So I'm glad they're back down to earth. But man, we cannot drop any points to West Ham because they're so poor. If we drop points, I'm gonna I'm j- I'm gonna go mental. Like we cannot drop points to West Ham. There is no excuse, especially with the signings.
Mm.
Um, I wonder if he's gonna start the Moani and Simmons right away, or if Frank is gonna um, keep him on the bench and bring him in the second half. I want to see them start. I want to see our best players play. And again, there is no excuse for us
Yeah, do it
not
the other way
to.
around. Yeah, I'm with you.
Right.
Throw them in. If they don't hit the ground running, then hook them at half time.
I
Because if
agree.
you're going to go the other way, why go the other way around? Why not play a different? You know, I mean, obviously, it like you're talking about probably that way benching Johnson. So you're giving them an outlet. If you're playing like Moani on the left, which I think he'll play, because Richarlison needs to stay in that 9 position away
But
from home, especially pressing.
sorry, do you know what I was thinking? I
Moani
would
presses as well, though.
I would play Richarlison on the left perhaps and try
Yeah,
Moani down the middle because on the
uh,
left he
yeah.
doesn't score. On the left might be he might do some.
He's a nuisance on the left. He's physical. No one likes coming up
Yeah,
against him on the left.
exactly,
So he
exactly.
works as a weapon. But I think Solanke's not far off from fitness. I think there's a lot of rumours things are worse than they are because we love to wallow in negativity in Spurs as Spurs fans, don't we? And make them think the worst of every situation. But yeah, or I see Simmons starting and maybe Sarr resting. You could you'd rest Sarr then probably and still go with Polina and Bentancur with Simmons providing the creative
So I have a
energy.
question for you, Adrian. Sar or Betancourt at the 8 in the 8? What do you think?
Yeah, or even Bergvall. Because look, even when you look at those 5 games towards the end of last season, we beat Brentford away playing a midfield pivot, and it was Bentancur and Bergvall, right? Bergvall started to sit back a bit deeper to help him out because he can get overrun in that position. He's not a natural defensive midfielder anyway. Bentancur, he's a guy that drags you up the field before he got the ACL injury, and then we went to West Ham. It was the same thing again. We stanked the place out, got that draw. Terrible game of football to watch, and in the last 3 Europa League games to the final, it was much of the same again. Did pivots, mainly defensive against Man United. Once Johnson scored that screamer, that worldie.
Yeah.
joke. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, what I'm pleased about this as well is it's not West Ham away. Okay, I expect us to go there and win. I mean, and I'm pleased that we're not going away in Europe for the first game because you know what it's like. Most teams come back, they seem to struggle. Although we've got more players, better players to choose from now on a return game. So have Villarreal, I'm going to have Villarreal at home. I think with Solomon, you'd probably score against us. I don't care as long as we smash them, right? You know what I mean? So Villarreal at home are midweek games under them lights at Spurs, always special. So
Yeah, but it's a short turnaround. So again, the question is who starts against West Ham, and then how many of those players play on Tuesday.
mm,
That's going to be interesting how Frank manages the squad for both games. I mean, I would probably sit Palhinha against West Ham because I think we can get away with Bentancur at the 6. Or maybe the other way around, because I don't think he can play both games. So we'll have to pick and
Yeah,
choose.
I mean, this is what I always look forward in games. I mean, now Frank's got to deal with a game every 3 days, which he hasn't been used to, right? We see how he tweaks it. I mean, and again, like I say to the fans, I say, like, keep an eye on the subs bench. Keep an eye on the subs he regularly uses, barring injuries and suspensions to players, because then you get an insight into his thinking and who he trusts and who he doesn't trust.
Yeah.
You trust the kids. They might not think they're ready, but he's shown bringing on Tell, Odegaard, Bergvall, Gray. I mean, he wanted Gray at Brentford, right? So, and he wanted Johnson as well. So that might surprise a few. So, but that was Brentford, though. You know, different levels of expectations there. But so it shows he trusts those. And he's gone in with Paulina and Bentancur. So it looks like he thinks they're a most solid midfield pivot. Yeah, so we'll see. We'll see. I mean, stop Jadon Sancho, basically. You stop West Ham.
Yeah, West Ham. I mean, Paqueta is the only one.
Yeah,
I rate.
Paqueta's good. I'd have had him at Spurs. Paqueta's good. Yeah,
I really wanted him. I really
Yeah.
wanted him.
Yeah, we don't know. Look, there's no transparency. We don't know what's going on behind the scenes with these dealings. Whether we're really interested in Lookman or not, we don't know. All that media talk, we all got fed up. We soon came to realise all these so-called in the knows, like they're clever after the fact. Most of them. Once, I mean, who they actually get the information of is like. I mean, Levy's not going to tell no one. Lang's quiet as a mouse. He won't say nothing. You know, so. I think a lot of it's guesswork, or they try to apply pressure on the club with a false story to make them come out and say something, like, you know. But all you're going to get is, like Ali Gold alludes to at the beginning of the season, I'm reliably informed that the club said they want a striker, a midfielder and a defender, and you'll get that. But you're not going to get names. They're not going to tell you, like, you know. Right, guys, Eugene's got to go and pick up his sons. It's been a good show. We've had plenty to talk about. There's still 100 of you viewing us on various platforms. Thank you for joining us. Like I said earlier to those earlier, if you're here, only recently joined us, there is a subscribe button, bottom right-hand corner, the red one. We can't see it. We're live. If you could subscribe, we're only about 15 short of 1,500. We've only been going about a year. We pride ourselves on bringing you good content. We do go out every Tuesday, Friday and Sunday, although we might miss this Friday, Sunday and Tuesday because unless there's something to talk about, we're not going to do a show just for the sake of it, okay? So thank you for all your comments in the chat and your questions. A big up to everyone who's watching us on playback. And we'll see you next time. It might be Friday the 15th, though, or it might be this Friday. If Drew wants to do a show I'm not going to tell him what to do. Admins do what they want. We'll see what happens, right? Thanks to James for coming on and regular friend of the show, and Eugene, a regular friend of the show. Any last words, Eugene?
No, just got to get over that 2-week break, and then it's gonna be fun. Yeah, 2 games a week. It's gonna get exciting.
We'll have loads of shows, loads to talk about. We might throw in some emergency shows. Who knows? Right, I'm going to play you out a bit of soul music. I will try and make more and more music. I've got about 15 tracks I've made. I'll play you out with this, and we'll see you on the next one.
We are Tottenham till we die. We are Tottenham till we die. Spurs die, heart and soul. We are Tottenham till we die. We are Tottenham till we die. Spurs die, heart and soul. We are Tottenham till we die. We are Tottenham till we die. Spurs die, hearts navy blue.